Citizens Advice Bureaus are registered charities which provide free, independent, confidential and impartial advice from thousands of locations across England and Wales. Staffed mostly by volunteers, they help millions of people resolve their problems every year.
Gave me some advice when I was single parent for benefits and that.
The council was overcharging me and I was just overpaying things, and when I came here they put everything straight.
I was dismissed from my job, a cleaning job, no pay and no holiday. They fight for me, I get all the pay and the holidays.
Yeah, everything I need from them, they help me.
On this day a year ago, while their son Noah was being born, James and Catherine were threatened with the removal of goods from their home. Bailiffs acting on behalf of the local council had added hundreds of pounds in illegal charges to their unpaid council tax bill of just £166.
We were in and out of hospital in the last couple of months with Catherine's pregnancy, so I have to say that paying the council tax was probably the last thing on my mind at that time. I was more concerned for the welfare of my fiancée and my unborn son. When I found out that hundreds of pounds had been added to my accounting costs, alarm bells started ringing really. I used to work in a council tax office, so I was aware that the costs were pretty extortionate. I contacted the council and asked them for an offer of repayment and to ask them what costs could be applicable, and they didn't give me very much information.
I felt really that there was nowhere else for us to turn.
They turned to the Citizens Advice Bureau to get more information about what bailiffs could legally charge.
There was only evidence that the bailiffs had visited once, enabling them to charge one visit fee, but they were trying to charge 4 and had also, bizarrely, added on something like £400 for no reason whatsoever, just to, let's see if we can do it. James was determined to do something about this. What he needed was the tools to do something about it. So we gave him those tools in terms of access to high quality information and support to enable him to get across to the council that what it was doing was unacceptable and unlawful.
With Kester's help, we arranged a meeting to go and see the council tax officers. They didn't really seem interested in my problems, and the only response we got from him in writing following that was to blame me for not paying the debt in the first place. They then claimed the bailiffs had planned to remove a car that didn't even belong to us.
Kester wrote to the council and the bailiffs on James's behalf. It brought immediate results. James received notification from the bailiffs that the extra costs had been dropped.
The charges were removed because they realised they weren't going to get away with it. And if we hadn't have been there, they would have done it and they would have taken the money.
It's really inspiring to work somewhere where people who have no other option, you can help resolve whatever issue they have.
I think it's a great service for people who cannot afford to go to lawyers.
It is incredibly satisfying to actually get somebody's benefit on the desk the next day, to change somebody's attitude. It is just an amazing job to do. I love it.
Eleanor suffers from anxiety and depression. She also suffers from paranoia. She believes everybody is talking about her, everybody's going to harm her.
Mental health problems mean it's impossible for Helena to work. To qualify for incapacity benefit, she has to attend regular assessments. On one occasion, she felt unable to cope and missed the appointment. When she tried to explain this to officials, they refused to accept her reasons, with devastating results.
They just said, no, that doesn't show good cause for not attending, and therefore her benefit was stopped. Helena was at a low point when she came to see us at the Bureau. She didn't have any money. She was living on Weetabix. She didn't have money for electricity for the tokens. Her daughter would give her money for this. This really stressed her out.
I didn't care about nothing anymore. I just wanted to end it all.
We needed to ensure that she had some form of money. We helped her completing all the relevant paperwork, the appeal form, the GL24, advising why she didn't attend her medical assessment. We requested medical evidence to support the reasons for her non-attendance.
They're marvellous. You're not just another person, and you get people that care, that put that little bit extra into it. She's been my little angel, she has.
They pay particular attention to your problem, they listen, and they're very active.
Good morning, Citizens Advice, can I help you? And they're always got a sympathetic ear to listen to what I've got to say and help me.
They are kind and nice people.
Chris, an ex-soldier who served in the Falklands, was working as an international truck driver when the recession hit. The only work he could get was as a bus driver. It meant his income dropped to a third of what it had been. His mortgage and loan repayments were now more than he earned.
You hear, through adverts on TV even, that there's loads of help for people in your circumstances, people who can't afford to pay their mortgage, blah blah. So I wrote to all the people I owed money to, that's loan repayments, credit cards and my mortgage people, and I offered them lower payments.
Chris's creditors all refused to accept lower payments until he was in arrears. But Chris knew that if he defaulted, his situation would get much worse.
My greatest fear was that my house would be repossessed and I'd lose my dog. I know it sounds silly, but my dog's been with me for 6 years and this is all I got.
In desperation, Chris went to the Citizens Advice Bureau. He had to get the creditors off his back.
They weren't being reasonable at all. He thought it would be a good idea to contact them before he was in desperate need. And what was bizarre was that nobody could help him until he was actually in arrears.
The only remaining option was to declare himself bankrupt. His debts could be written off, but it wasn't that simple. First he had to find £500 to pay the application fee.
I discussed with Chris his employment history just to find out, what he'd done, where he'd been, in a view to looking for a benevolent fund that might be able to assist his situation.
Chris had served in the army. It meant Debs could approach the Royal British Legion, which has a fund to help veterans.
I explained to him at the time there would be no guarantees that they could help, but on this occasion they were willing to fund the application for bankruptcy.
But Chris was still in danger of losing his home. The receivers were demanding all the equity he held in his house. Debs went back to the Legion and secured additional help to the tune of £2,000.
We were over the moon. Such a lot of money as well that he never would have been able to ask anybody for.
I couldn't have asked for a better outcome. I get to keep my house, got my dog. I really cannot thank the CAB enough because it's look really sad, but I'm really, really happy. I really am.
If these costs had still been on the account, we'd still be paying them now, even though Noah's now won.
I think without the help of the Citizens Advice Bureau, we would have been stranded really and forced to pay the costs that we didn't have the money to be able to pay.
Everything we've wanted to demonstrate to the council, we've been able to back it up with legislation and law.
Kester's at the end of a phone call
is at the end of the phone, and you can speak to him at any time.
As you can see, we're on first name terms with Kester. Feels like a family friend now.
Well, without them I wouldn't be here today. They've been like my family.
They get answers where you've been trying to get answers.
I got some really good advice that I'm going to follow up.
And I've gone home with the information that I required.
It's hard for us because we are new in this country, that's why we need their help. And they work so hard for us.
I came to Sitton's advice for a problem and it was all sorted, and I was surprised about the quickness it got sorted.
If I hadn't been able to come to Citizen Advice Bureau, I'm not in a position to afford a solicitor, so I'd probably be sitting at home holding my head.
They can help you to sort out your problems. They're brilliant. Go and see them.